Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Bravo Bedside Banter. I am Meredith, joined with my beautiful co-host, Rachel.
Thank you. It's so nice that you said that, because after this week, I was like, literally nothing matters. I don't care if I look like shit. Fuck men. Like, they hate me.
But you look beautiful, and I love that we're both rocking our glasses today.
We are. Yes, thank you.
It's a cozy Friday over here in Georgia. We have the windows open and it's kind of overcast, so it
Oh,
feels
that's
really
nice.
nice as we're recording this. Feels kind of cozy like a fall day.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of missing fall this year. This is like my first fall time in Hawaii, and there's a part of me that definitely misses like my sweaters and the cool crisp air and the leaves and all of that. So
Yeah,
enjoy
as
that.
as we are speaking right now, where we both met,
Mhm.
where our friendship originated in Denver, they are expected to get 9 inches of snow right now. So,
Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. I just want a little bit of fall. I'm very
yeah.
glad I'm not dealing with snow, especially that's early for that in November.
I feel like it would usually snow like around my birthday in October, the first snow, but to get this much, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
I kind of miss it. I miss it for like a day, but I'll take this cozy crispness to the air.
Yeah. You will maybe you'll get a little bit of snow. You never know. I know one year living in Georgia growing
Yeah.
up, we got snow.
Whenever I lived here the first time, we would
Mhm.
get like, a sprinkling, a dusting.
Yeah.
There was the iconic snowpocalypse that happened here, but
The dusting,
that
and then no one
was
knows how to drive, and like
right.
everything closes down. Like the Walmart's closed, the schools are closed. They're like, we can't function.
One time we actually had school closed for, I would say, an entire week. Yeah. It
Whoa.
was like if it wasn't a whole week, it was like Tuesday through Friday. And then the next week was MLK week. So then we had Monday off. And so I think by like Thursday, my friend's mom was like, fuck this, we're getting out of here, and rented a car and drove us to the beach.
Oh my god, I love that.
It was a good time. Good
What a good memory.
time. Yeah. Okay, so let's start with OC this week.
Okay, I just was watching the reunion. I have thoughts.
Yes. So first off, I just want to state that I think everybody's dresses were underwhelming this year.
I was thinking that they were all very casual too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and the set was casual. It was all casual. It was interesting.
Shannon like was dressed up like
Yeah.
almost like matronly kind of, like
Yeah.
mother of the bride wearing white to steal the show. I really did I like Heather's dress, but it's not her in my
No.
opinion.
No, I like Katie's dress. I think she looked amazing. Um I
Yeah.
think but overall they were like just kind of boring.
Yeah, I thought that Emily would kind of do more, give more, like what her dress was just it wasn't great.
Give us some glitz, give us some glam. Come on, OC.
Give us some body. Like, let's
Yeah,
see your
give us some
her
body yaddy.
storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, don't cover it up.
I thought it was really weird that they brought up what happened with Katie in the car, that like that happened 10 years ago. Like, what was the point of them bringing that up? I was like, this is
Well,
so weird.
and how do they know? So somebody was digging for that. Like, we're just going to brush right over the fact that Heather was digging for it. If she said, was it Heather that said, like, that's not the
Yeah.
police's encounter?
Which I think is a really fucked up thing to say to a woman of color, especially a woman of color where this happened in a deeply red state.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is just why did they bring it up?
Yeah.
Where did they get this information? The fact that they were talking about it happened in Marietta, where I live, I'm like, what? And then they tried to tie it to the whole thing, like she just gave up custody, like that was an easy decision. I don't know. I didn't like how they came after Katie with that. That just felt wrong.
It felt really wrong. And then they were all like, oh, the police lie. It's like, yes, the police lie. Of course they do. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like that was baffling to me. And I was thinking about like my own experience with domestic violence and like how the police report said, like, it was like 3 sentences. It was like, reports of domestic violence arrived at the scene to a calm man and an unconscious woman. She decided to kill herself. Like, she tried to commit suicide, left the scene. Like, they left out the fact that he was screaming at me to kill myself for 2 hours, like, and was threatening a lot of other things. Like, but that's the police report. And I think that this idea that, like, we don't believe women is so spread, and it
Yeah.
was so infuriating to hear that, of like, once again, we're not going to believe women. We're going to believe this police report. We're not going to believe a woman of color. Like, that made me so mad. And I was just like, Heather, you prove over and over again that you are like such a fake white woman ally with all of your bullshit around your kids. But then when it actually comes to social justice with body diversity and body positivity or acceptance with women of color in your life, you actually have nothing to show for it. And you will prove
Yeah.
that you will ruin everything with your fucking white woman tears.
I was just disappointed in the whole thing and how I don't think it should have been brought up at all. I don't
It
think
had no
anything
point
like
to
that.
anything. It had like no,
Right.
like, it shouldn't have been brought up. It was also just like, why did you go digging for that?
And I could say the same about what Shannon was trying to do to go digging for Gina
Mm-hmm.
and Travis.
Totally. Like,
And
why were you?
also, side note, what the fuck does bringing up if Travis has a small penis? Why does that matter on a reunion for a reality TV show?
Why did they bring that up? I saw also the whole season they kept talking about how big his penis is, and then they said small. I'm like,
He's
what is
got big
going on?
balls. He's got big balls, is what this whole season has been about.
Right, big balls, small penis. Well, maybe the penis just looks small in comparison to how big the balls are. Maybe that's it.
Yes,
One
but
time
like,
I was with a guy that was so tall, he was like 6'6", and I was like, wow, his penis isn't very big in comparison to his height. But then I thought about it and I was like, actually, and then I felt it and I was like, no, actually, it's huge. It's the size comparison that makes it look not as big.
that's so funny. But the fact that like they showed it, they kept, I don't know. The producers at this reunion are messy. The producers are their own housewife entity. Like how
Yeah,
they went back and had receipts for Shannon, especially messy.
it's all really messy. And like, Shannon, like, I'm so over Shannon's drinking being a storyline. Like, let it go. Like, let it be.
Yeah.
She
Well, it's
might.
also, I think it's in bad taste for them to put her in positions for her to be drinking and then make her being an alcoholic her whole storyline.
Yep, absolutely.
Somebody called Brandy. Hasn't she been going after Bravo for that?
She has, yeah, but her case got dropped.
I guess Bravo has the coinage.
Yeah, and she got no money in dropping it. She just got like basically threatened.
Dang.
Yeah, so
So
that's not going over. But she's made like she has proven over and over again to be an unreliable narrator. So I think that also probably makes it really hard to have a case when you have years of reality television footage proving that you're an unreliable narrator of your own life.
yeah, just sucks that we lost that season of Ultimate Girls Trip that we'll never
I
see.
know what I would do for that footage. Like, maybe they'll give it to us. Maybe they'll be like, the world's burning down. It doesn't matter.
What if they're just like, this is a Peacock exclusive and they don't announce that they put it out, but they just put it out?
Oh, that would be amazing.
I would love.
I would
But
love
then
that.
would it be just so irrelevant because everybody's lives have gone on? That was like, what, 2 years ago that they filmed it?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely during, I remember like COVID, because the first one also came out during COVID. And it was right after.
Taken right out of our hands,
Stolen from us.
stolen from us.
Just like our bodily autonomy.
Yeah, this has been a difficult week.
Yes, it has. The housewives have been good, a good distraction from everything happening.
I agree. It's
And
actually making me laugh out loud, the Housewives this week.
which one are all of them?
Specifically Salt Lake City.
Oh yeah, I
But
was laughing at Salt Lake too.
I feel like we will get there this week. Can I just say really quick about New York, though?
Yeah.
Rebecca Minkoff is dead weight. She needs to go.
She's done nothing.
She's given us absolutely nothing. And I think that they're hinting that next episode, something's going to come out about her having a secret child. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Is that about her?
I think maybe, but I don't think that that's going to be true. And also, like, I just don't think that's going to be true or come out. I think that the producers got her on because they were like, she's rich and she's a Scientologist. Like, this will be interesting because we get someone on here that's a Scientologist, but they have underestimated the amount of media training that these Scientologist people go through. Like, they go through so much, especially like the ones that are like faces of Scientology, they go through so much media training. So like, you're not going to get anything out of her.
So she's giving us zero. Like,
Yeah,
she's dead weight.
Because you know who else is a Scientologist who like never does interviews and they never talk about it is Elizabeth Moss.
Really?
Yeah, which
I kind of forgot about her.
Interesting that she's in a show about occult, well, being in a cult.
Yeah. I like totally forgot about her up until
I
this
agree,
moment.
though. I was wanting more from her. I thought that it would be fun to have Rebecca Minkoff on and like learn a little bit more about her because she is so private. But she's just
something about her.
She's just tight-lipped again.
No, I think it's her whole aura, and I hate to say this. Like I don't know her, but just seeing her on camera, she's like there but not. Like her body is there, but she doesn't contribute anything to any conversation. It's like her presence is known. The girls in the group are like, okay, like we know that you're here, but you're giving us nothing. Like even Brynn, as annoying as she is this season, is giving us something.
Yeah. Rebecca Minkoff has dead eyes too in every episode, completely dead eyes.
I just expected more. But I will say Jessel, my opinion has improved of her.
Yeah, I like her way more than last season. I find her way more interesting.
And just kind of, she has like a lightness to her this season.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I think New York is boring, like Snooze Fest, but I am still going to watch it. I'm still interested in what Jessel is giving. So I thought it was very interesting. This has been her storyline all season, that she wants to have another kid. I think it's also really interesting that they're choosing to store their embryos in California and Beverly Hills. Like I don't know if there's like politics to that or some kind of tax benefit, but I don't know why they're storing their embryos across the country. She has embryos and she wants a girl because they have twin boys. And I find it interesting that every time that she brings up this topic with her husband finds a way to deflect.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how common that is, unfortunately, in heterosexual relationships where it's one partner brings up something and the other deflects. And I would say most of the time it is the male partner that deflects, distracts, and doesn't want to engage in this conversation. I think it's really sad because you could tell that it took her some courage to bring it up.
Yeah.
Albeit it's on camera, so we don't know what their conversation prior to it looked like. But
totally.
I don't know. I feel like this is just kind of the same motif and something that I've seen before in clients that we talk about, and just like having the confidence to bring something up in the first place and then having that just completely diminished.
Yeah.
It discourages the other person from wanting to bring up other things.
Yeah, and it causes a lot of anxiety for them too when they're thinking about bringing things up.
Yeah. So I don't know. That just, it's so unfortunate that is so common. Yeah. But I do hope that people could see that and think like, maybe I do handle conversations like that and I want to handle it differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that his deflection is really interesting. It's like, why do you think he's deflecting so much? Like, we know he doesn't want a kid, but why does he not want another child?
I don't know. And you would think too that they would have previous conversation about like, okay, how many children do we want? This is how many. I hear Dolly.
I know Dolly just came over and she's like snoring. Just let me move her for a second.
No, she's okay. She's good.
She's just a little snoring baby. Do you want to say hi to everyone? Come here.
Oh,
She's
Dolly's the star of the show.
She's such a chunk. I can't even fit her right now. Sometimes she can move her body where she will fit on my lap.
I love her so much.
She's the best. Well, that was a little break from Dolly.
Intermission. But just, and all I'll say about this is like, you would think that they would have a conversation about, okay, how many embryos should we, make?
Yeah.
And how many, so, okay, that's how many kids we will be willing to have. I don't know. And granted, I've never gone through IVF. I don't know that process. I am just an observer of this, but I think he's just, I don't know, being so against it just to take a stance. And that's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair. And I feel for her. I think I'm curious, like, what her reasoning. I know she wants a daughter, but like, what's her reasoning too for wanting? I think for both of them, we haven't really heard exactly why she really wants another kid and exactly why he doesn't. Like, it's kind of been because he deflects every time she brings it up. And I'm really curious of both of them. What are their reasons for this truly?
Yeah. Interesting.
Not just like, I want a girl, or not just like, I don't want another kid because it's a lot of work. Like, what are the real things going on behind all of that?
I agree. Maybe we'll find out. Who knows? Or maybe New York will just stay boring. Stay tuned.
Yeah, they haven't really given us a lot. Like, give us some juice, give us some tea, give us some tea. I know.
So Salt Lake City is really, it's doing it for me.
I don't think we talked about this last time, but I loved that Bronwyn, I know this was a couple episodes ago, wears costumes to pick her husband up at the airport.
Yes.
I am obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with, she's like, I might be like hot and young, but I don't have to be. And she's like, I'm going to be a fucking goof.
Well, also my immediate thought was, how did Bravo get this B-roll of her just showing, like, did they take all of these costumes and get this footage in the airport one day? Or did she record herself? Like, how did they get this footage?
I know. I'm guessing like over the course of filming, because she said he travels every week. Like, that's enough time for them to go to the airport with her, I'm sure, on filming days.
I love it.
The Salt Lake City airport is small too, and it's really easy to get around. So
what a unique thing, just to like giggle, keep it light, keep it fun, stupid.
What did you think about her not inviting Heather on the trip?
I'm really glad that you asked about this though, because I thought it was warranted. Like, I appreciate that my interpretation of this interaction was that she invited Heather over, and with the intention of apologizing and getting an apology and coming to neutral ground. Like, I genuinely do think that she showed up, and the vibe that I read from her was authentic. She was very clear with her intentions. She communicated incredibly clearly. She communicated from a place of, from her heart, and just a place of wanting to have mutual ground. And I think Heather did not want to accept that no matter what. I think she went into that situation knowing exactly that she was not going to be friends with her.
I agree. And Heather went into it like she was super condescending about Bronwyn's home, first of all, like from moment one. And then also like, and she was so fake nice about it, which she was so two-faced about it. Like, her confessional being like, this is the dirtiest home. This is disgusting. It's so ugly. It looks like Whoville. And like, but then into her Facebook, wow, your home's so lovely. I love this. I was just like, fuck this. Like, stop being a two-faced bitch. And then I think that Bronwyn also was really authentic, and I think she was really regulated in her nervous system. I was like, was really regulated during that conversation. She didn't get elevated. She also didn't blame Heather or like say anything that was condescending. She was like, okay, if that's how you feel, I get it. Like, that's not what I am here to do, or that's not what's happening, but like, I can't argue with that. Like, that's how you feel. And I thought it was really manipulative for her to be like, so I'm here to like sing for my supper. It's like, no, she wants to know, can we repair this or not? And if we can't, then I don't want to invite you on my anniversary trip.
Which is valid.
Super valid. This is her anniversary trip. Like, and I also get from the trip that Todd does not put up with shit. He's like, I don't do it. Like, he's like, absolutely not. We're not doing this.
Yes. Well, okay, so you could tell from that interaction, from the end of it, that Heather was doing it to make a scene, to make it a
100%.
moment,
To be
and that Bronwyn had genuine feelings about it. And Heather was like, this is my persona. So regardless of how their relationship actually is, I don't know. But she didn't end up going on the trip. And then Todd, I think, had no fucking idea what he was signing up for.
No,
being a house
oh my
husband.
God. Todd had no idea. I love Todd kind of.
I love him too, but something that's interesting, something that's interesting is that I can get a vibe that he can be a total asshole.
Oh, 100%. You also don't become that rich without being somewhat of an asshole. Like, this is actually my belief. And this is my hot take. I think that you don't become that rich with that amount of money without being somewhat of a cunt. And I mean a cunt in not a serving way, a cunt in a like bad person way. Because if you understand anything about capitalism and oppression, you understand that in order to get that much money, you have had to step on a lot of people to do it and to not care about how this impacts other people.
Okay, hot take.
That's my hot take. And whether that's not paying your workers fair wages or giving them access to healthcare or whatever it is, or it's buying things from companies that don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, there is some level of oppression that you are taking advantage of. So I could definitely believe he's an asshole.
I could see that.
Because they're definitely the richest on the show, right? I was going to ask you that too. Like, they're the richest by far.
I mean, at first I was like thinking, okay, Angie K, like, they got the coinage to back it, but then Bronwyn came in like, hello. Well, I don't know. Mary, we haven't really discussed much of Mary's financials in a while. So I don't know. That's also some shady coinage.
Shady coinage. Another person who has gotten rich off of oppression.
Yeah. So, okay. Bronwyn, I'm loving this season for her. I think she's awesome. I love how she stood up to Lisa, and Lisa was not expecting it.
No.
And we're seeing more from, I almost said Justin, but that's Whitney's husband. Lisa's husband is
John Barlow.
John Barlow. Yes. I just had a moment. We're seeing more from him. And he was like shell shocked whenever Todd confronted him. You could tell that they're not confrontation people.
No, because John's a little coward. John's a fucking coward. Like, even that dinner he had with Justin, when Justin was like, we're not apologizing, he was like, well, I think Lisa would like it. And he was like so timid about it. And then Justin's like, we're not doing it. And he was like, okay, want to get another drink? Like, it was just like, John's a coward. John's such a coward. And then when Todd confronted him, he just like quaked in his boots like a little boy. And I was like,
okay, I'll go talk to Lisa. I will say though, I'm really glad that you brought up Justin and John meeting, because I will say that that is something that you don't see.
I actually loved that we saw that like whole scene.
Yes, I love that we saw some kind of attempt for repair there, because a lot of the time we see, especially on Housewives, but even in real life, like conflict and then no repair, conflict and then just all of a sudden we're just going to act like nothing happened.
Yep.
So the attempt for accountability, okay, progress. Love to see it.
Totally.
And it seems like, I don't know if Heather felt, do you think Heather, I'm going to ask you this then. How do you feel that Heather feels being the only single person on the cast?
I'm sure that that's like bothersome and tiresome, but I also don't think like Heather has shown no interest in dating or being partnered. Like she has no interest in most men, honestly. I think like the first season or second season they tried to like hook her up with a couple people and it was kind of funny. But like
Mhm.
she's shown no interest in dating. So I don't know that she cares.
Yeah. Part of me was just thinking, especially with her demeanor about, so she had to have known, right? Like production wise, like she had to have known that there's going to be a trip coming
Yeah.
because they tell everybody to block off their calendars for this time. So I don't know
Right.
if she was just maybe jealous of Bronwyn.
Well, that's a good question. I'm curious. Do they tell them like when you are filming, these are your call times and it's these dates and these weekends and we will tell you like if you're actually filming on this day or not. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we are filming from March until June and there are these 3 weekends where you have to confirm that you are filming. You might not be a part of it because sometimes they follow like the women on their own independent, like two
Yeah.
of them or not all of them go on a trip. Or
Yeah.
sometimes they just go with, there's been a couple of episodes where they just like go away with their husband and filming is there.
Right.
So I'm curious like how regulated it is around their
Yeah.
own choice of what they're doing versus like you have to do this because it's in the contract and you have to go or you have to be available for filming.
Yeah. I don't know. Heather, long of the short of it, or whatever that saying is, I think she's jealous. I think that she knew about it and there were couples going, and I think that she's jealous of something that Bronwyn has or does.
She's
Like,
definitely jealous, I think, of Bronwyn. I think she's jealous that Bronwyn is coming into the group and like kind of becoming Queen Bee
yeah.
because she feels like she's Queen Bee.
Well, Heather has always been likable up until now, mostly been likable up
What
until
a
now.
fall from grace from the last season to now. I'm like, Heather, I don't want to see you on my screen.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope that we learn a little bit more of what's going on.
Yeah.
Miss Good Time Girl.
Oh, the reason we also, I actually think it was, what do you think about them calling Heather while Bronwyn walked away? I thought that was fucked.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting take. I see why they did it. Like I don't think it was, oh my god, let's do this to make it uncomfortable. Like I think it was like, let's just do it while Bronwyn's away to tell her that we're here and like we're on her side kind of. But they made it a thing that it wasn't, I think, in my opinion.
Also, like, let's do this to tell her we're on her side. Like, that's really disrespectful for the person that is paying for you to go on this trip.
True. True.
And
And
like,
Bronwyn did remind everybody at every opportunity that she had that she paid for that vacation.
yeah. She wants everyone to know Bravo did not pay for it. I
Hey,
paid for this.
I love that. Take me on a vacation.
When they were like, do you want these 10-carat diamond rings? When they had the personal assistant show up with those, the earrings, I mean.
That's a
Did
level
you
of
notice this?
rich. Yes, I noticed. That's a level of rich.
I was like, you're the richest person on here. The fact that you had a personal diamond shopper show up at your home and that you rented and be like, do you like these perfectly cut, clarity,
Identical.
impeccable, identical 10-carat diamond earrings? And
As
Todd's
she
like, yeah,
drove from LA to Palm Springs.
right.
Yeah, I would drive anywhere. I mean, the commission on that, are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, the commission's gonna be, she's gonna make so much. Good for you, girl. Get that bag.
Yes.
Sell those diamonds.
Yes.
Like, when I thought it was really impressive though that Todd told like John, like, you've got to get Lisa out of here. Like, what would you do? Like, if you were on a, because you're in a relationship, you're married. If you
Yeah.
were on your anniversary trip and you had paid for people to come with you, and you had a friend who was just like making a scene and being kind of like disrespectful, like Lisa,
Yeah.
would you want Sam, your husband, to go say something to her husband about like, hey, she needs to like shut the fuck up, or you guys got to go?
I think if I was so impacted by it, I would say something. And this is funny because we have been on a group friend trip where one couple, the wife of the couple, had kind of gone and said some very hurtful things to some of the people and kind of just like had a moment.
Oh.
And I don't know what triggered it, and I didn't see the whole thing, but I just saw it as it was unraveling. And it was to the point that it was like, okay, we no longer want you a part of this trip. And so it was a group effort to go to her husband and say, listen, we can't have this. And he was in such a conflicted position because he was like, I get it, but also I want to have a good time.
Yeah.
And also stood up for her a little bit. Like, you need to understand she's going through a difficult time right now and trying to justify it, which we were like, no, like we can't
like,
have this here.
Do this though.
Yeah. And it was very interesting. I would say it felt uncomfortable, but at the end, like, we paid this money for this trip and this vacation. We want to have a good time. We're not going to let like that dead weight bring us down.
No, absolutely not.
Toxic. You can feel the toxicity when someone's just not happy and just wants to infect the people around them.
Absolutely, you can.
So I don't know. I think it probably checked them. I think that she's probably going to hate Bronwyn moving forward.
I think they're going to not be friends, but I think. So what happened on your trip then? Did they end up leaving? That's my question. They did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did leave. Wow.
Yeah. It was, well, it was just an interesting dynamic because we had this place. Mm-hmm. And so they ended up having to get a different place within the place that we were staying. And then they left the next day. So it was just.
Did you refund them or did they ask for a refund?
I don't think so. No, I think it was just all like, I think some of the girls in our group tried to have like a reconnection moment. But for me, some of the things that this person said was so just inappropriate and I was not having it. And something about me is that I'm good on my friends. Like, I don't need excess. And so I was just okay just to block and move on from my life.
Yeah. I think that's a really wise thing to recognize, like when a relationship needs repair and when it's like, actually, it's not worth it. Like,
and some of the ladies in the group had been friends with this person for a longer time than I have. And so I respect that they've probably felt like they needed some kind of form of repair. I don't know whatever happened though. And I'm feeling curious to like follow up on it. But I think largely nobody's really friends with this person now.
Wow. It's so interesting. I know, like, I've had several clients who've had situations like this on trips as well. And they've brought it into couples work of like, there's a couple where one person in the couple that they're friends with, or they're going on a trip with, or they've been on a trip with, like acted really horrifically. And like, what do you do? This is why I will say traveling is the ultimate test of if you can be friends with someone. Yes. And if you should date someone. Like, yes. This is, I'll have another hot take. This is a big reason why I fucking hate bachelorette parties. I don't want to spend a shit ton of money to go hang out with some women I know and some women I don't know, out of which I might not get along with all of them. Yeah. And like, I don't want to spend time and money like feigning friendships with people I don't care about or trying to be nice to people that I don't get along with.
Yeah. I will say bachelorette trips, it totally is conditional on the person. Totally. Like, what kind of people does that person that you're going to celebrate, do they attract? Because I've had fun. I've gone on bachelorette trips and it's fun and like everybody's getting along and it's like, you know, it feels like a nice vacation. I'd like to think that my own was like that, but I've also been on ones where I'm like, I just wasted all this fucking money to show up and put on a smile.
I know. I'm like debating right now. I have a bachelorette trip that I'm supposed to go on. And I saw the guest list and I was a little shocked at some of the people because I just didn't think that this person was that close with some of these people. The person getting married.
Weddings do that.
And I was like, what the fuck? Why are these people invited to the bachelorette? And I think it's because it's a wedding overseas. And so we're doing the bachelorette party while we're there. And I'm sure there's a little bit of like, well, these people are sort of in the friend group, even if they're on the fringe, it would be rude to like not invite them to the bachelorette party of it. That's my assumption. But one of the people that's going, I'm like, should I be in a house with this person? Like, this woman has done some pretty horrible things to me.
Oh.
And I'm like, do I suck it up and go on the bachelorette because it means a lot to the bride and like also because I live so far away now from Denver? Yeah. Like, it is important that I spend time with her and see her and celebrate her. And I haven't been able to be there for any of the festivities. Or do I say like my mental health and my peace is worth more, and like I got to protect my peace. I can't go.
That's hard. That's
I think
very
it's hard
difficult.
too when people this goes back to their trip though, and I actually really am curious what you think about this. When people who you are friends with are also friends with people who have hurt you, and they want to
Yeah.
put you in a group because they don't see it as that big of a deal because maybe they weren't the person hurt, or they like in their mind it's something that people should get over or whatever. Like that's a really tricky spot to be with a friend.
It is. And I have also been the connecting friend of of two people who don't get along.
Yeah.
And
I've
I
been
will
there
say
too.
it's a strange position to be in because you feel very pulled and you want to show up and respect both people, but you don't want to just leave someone out. And then to me, then that leads to the hierarchy of friendships, which I hate. And that is my hot take, is that a lot of the time in this like traditional wedding in particular industry, it's the hierarchy of friendships, and then also it's the illusion of closeness. Like some people think that they're closer with other people than they actually are, and that's just like mind
100%.
blowing to me.
100%.
But it's difficult to answer your question. That's very difficult. I have been both that
Yeah.
person and in the connecting person position, and it sucks.
Yeah. I think, well, the whole thing of if I'm even going to go to the wedding now is dependent on the economy because I think it's going to crash really fast, really bad. But it might even be a mute point on if I'm going to this bachelorette party. But I think like right now, my decision is I'm going, and I will suck it up, and I will just like, it won't be the best night of my life, and that's okay. It's not about me. It's about her.
Well, where is it?
Portugal.
Oh, you gotta
Yeah.
go.
And I'm going to the wedding for sure. The bachelorette is like 2 nights before the actual wedding, and it's 2 nights together in a house.
Oh,
Yeah. And I think
that changes everything. I thought you were going back to Denver for the bachelorette, and then
no. I'm gonna be there unless I got a flight that was like got there the date before the wedding, which could also happen because of how expensive things might be really soon.
right.
Um, but yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Is like and that's also why I think that this woman and these two women were in particular were invited because it's a friend group that goes back to college, and they're like, even if they're on the fringe of the friend group, they're in the friend group and they're coming to the wedding. So I think that it's just like everyone is invited to this bachelorette party part that is friendly with the bride or friends with the bride.
My unsolicited advice is just break the difference and just go for one night of the bachelorette.
That's a good idea, actually.
And you can show up and support and just say, hey, this is when my flight is getting in. Or fly into a bigger city, for however long and just say,
Yeah.
I'm going to do my own little thing in this city. And then I'll meet up with y'all on this day. This is what I can commit to.
Well, Sarah is going to be my date, my sister. So we're going to go together. So I can also say, like, I don't want to leave Sarah alone for 2 nights. I'm only going to leave her alone for 1 night.
Yeah.
Even though Sarah would love being alone. Are you kidding me? She loves traveling alone, but that's so it'll be interesting though to see them. A lot might change though. I know that like some of these women that are invited are trying to get pregnant, and like one's like trying to convince her boyfriend to marry her. So like I don't know how much is going to change in the next few months of people actually coming. I think with destination weddings and with destination bachelorette parties, a lot of people commit it first and then people just drop out.
Yeah.
So it might even be a mute point. I might even have to worry about it. But I think it's a really interesting point when you're traveling with people and either you are the friend who is friends with people that do not get along, or you are the person who does not get along with someone and that person is there and you have to play nice because the person coordinating the trip is friends with both of you.
Yeah. Either way, I think you're destined to have a good time in Portugal.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much wine there.
Yeah. And I don't know, you'll have to keep us updated on what you decide to do. When is the wedding?
May.
Oh, that's not that far away either.
No, I know, which is crazy.
It's like 6.5 months away.
I know. It's wild.
Wow. I feel like we covered a lot so far. Covered hot takes,
Yeah.
icks.
Well, there's one thing that I wanted to ask you. I know we kind of talked about it. What about, so if you are listening and you're not aware of this, like the 4B movement has sparked a lot of interest in the last
Oh
couple of
yeah.
days since the election. The 4B movement started in South Korea. I've been aware of it and following it probably for like the last 4 years. I don't know. I might have even brought it up on the show before, but it's women who were opposed to the way in which men were treating them in South Korea, which was really misogynistic. And they decided that they are not, it's 4 tenets, so they're not marrying men, they're not having men's babies, they're not living with men, and they're not having sex with men. And so it's kind of swept South Korea and is creating a lot of change in the world or in their country. So now that there are women in the US who have already been doing this since the last election. Um, I think that it is growing and going to continue to grow in popularity, but I'm curious what you think about it, Meredith. As a sex educator, what do we think about
Yeah.
this idea? Because I think it brings up a lot of really interesting points.
So I have been seeing it a lot on social media recently, and I am just so interested in it because it is such a radical movement. And this is it's going to create cultural shifts that we probably can't even predict. I mean, it's going to, in the short term, um, population will go down. Um, God knows what. Like, will how much of their culture will be minimized from this? How much of their culture? What kind of impacts will this have? And that's my first thought on it. Is this is such a huge radical shift in their culture that we have no idea. I mean, I think and maybe I'm just ignorant to it, but in my lifetime, I have not seen anything like this fully play out. I haven't seen anything like this really actually happen. So I think if it's something to make a statement and to let people know how they feel, like all power to them. And I'm very, very curious to see how this pans out as an observer, as someone who, I am married and I am in a
Yeah.
relationship. And I don't know. I think that just the cultural implications are going to be very drastic and beyond what we can comprehend right now. I do want to reach out to one of my professors, and maybe I'll do that between now and our
Oh,
next recording and see maybe even if she'll come on here or talk about it a little bit because she has hot takes on things like this. But yeah, I'm very fascinated by it. I want to learn more about it. I want to hear from people who are within this culture and what they're doing, how that affects their day to day life, how it affects their family dynamics. Like, I want to know everything.
yeah. I find it really interesting for a couple of reasons. I think it has ability to have massive impact. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
I there are some tenets of it that like I have decided to follow a long time ago. Like I don't want children. That's like one that and also like I've never felt intrigued or pulled to marriage. There's been certain times where I've dated people and they've really wanted marriage. I'm like, oh yeah, that would be fine with you, or like I would look forward to that with you. But there's nothing in me that's like I want to be married or I can't wait to have a wedding. So like those two, I feel like I'm solid on. The dating men and the having sex with men are the two where I'm like, well, unfortunately, I'm more straight than I would like at this point in time in our society. But it's really interesting. Something happened like after Tuesday, and it's actually been slowly growing because I've been like on dating apps a little bit and just seeing more and more of like the misogyny that is becoming so
It's so disgusting.
emboldened by what's
Yeah.
happening in our country. And I have like been really turned off from men for like a slowly. And like this election, I was like, I literally deleted Bumble instantly. I was like, I just don't want any of you near my fucking body because I couldn't stop thinking about the fact like so many of you voted for this man, and those of you that didn't, no men who did and didn't try to have conversations with them. Like, so many men are complicit, and even if they didn't vote for him, of why he got elected. And I'm like, I don't want to date a fucking coward. I don't want a coward near my body, and I don't want a coward's penis inside me.
And and now the screening process to that is like basically non-existent.
Truly. Yeah, exactly. So I think that I have like, it's really interesting how strongly, and I know clients that I've talked to this week, I know colleagues that I've talked to this week that are feeling very strongly pulled to this movement, and also very strongly pulled to this like ick from men. I think that what is happening and what we'll continue to see is like this women's movement of decentering men, realizing like, what is the fucking point in centering them? We've centered them with the way we look, the way we talk, the way we dress, how we appear, trying to not be too much, trying to, you know, pretend that we like sports and all of these things or whatever. And there's so many ways that we've centered men. I think women are finally like, absolutely not. And interestingly enough, Bravo has been one of the big ways that I've like decentered men. I used to be so ashamed of how much I love Bravo, and I would like be like, oh yeah, well, I kind of like reality TV. It's really stupid, blah, blah, blah. In the last like 4 or 5 years, I've been like, I fucking love reality TV, and sports are dumb. Like, I don't care. Like,
ever since we have met each other, we're both like, this is who we are.
Yeah. I love reality TV. Sports are fucking stupid, and I will have a political discussion with you about this, and I will win. Like,
yeah.
There's so much of me that I'm like, I don't care if men think it's stupid or unattractive. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I personally enjoy watching some sports, but it's mostly because I love having commentary on like, it's your fucking job. It's not that hard. You can catch a fucking ball. Like, that is my favorite part of it. But yeah, I think you're right on it. So fun. So just this new movement and how it will impact us. I'm very, very curious to see the short and long-term impacts on how we will adopt this. And
I think
I'm going to see what kind of more information I can gather about it.
Yeah, I think if you're someone that is looking into this movement, I think it's really important that you also look into how to keep yourself safe, because online in the last couple of days, there's already been so much violence. I don't know.
Keyboard warriors.
Have you seen the whole "Your Body, My Choice"?
Oh, yes.
You have no choice now. Like people are commenting on women's 4B movement stuff and saying like, as if you even have a choice, I'm gonna come for you, and like this. So if you are practicing
disgusting,
this, it's really violence. Important that you also are creating ways to protect yourself. And like, I repost a video that I think every woman should do and I'm getting one this weekend of like a lock on a bandana. You get a really heavy lock. And you tie it to a cotton bandana, and then have the bandana hang out of your scarf, like the scarf hang out of your purse. So it just kind of looks like a scarf on your purse, but you can easily, like, you can hold it in your hand as you're walking, and you can easily pull it out and like swing it pretty hard, and it's pretty heavy. And it's something you can get through like TSA, and you can get through any security checkpoints because it's just a padlock and a bandana. But yeah, I think we all need to be taking safety precautions too for what's next.
Definitely. Thank you for bringing that up too. I appreciate that. Sometimes we forget these things, and then things like that bring it right back up. So
yeah.
Thank you for doing that. And thank you all for listening this week. If you have any questions, we definitely encourage you to do your own research onto 4B, this cultural movement that's happening in Korea, and let us know your thoughts. Reach out to us. We are on Instagram, TikTok, we're YouTube, all the places. You can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So reach out and have a beautiful rest of your week.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.